All right, welcome to the Third and Wrong YouTube channel. It's just your boy Dillon today, and we're going to be doing a little Dillon with the Colts. And I'm going to be talking about the top four, and there's a specific reason why four quarterbacks that I want the Colts to take in the NFL draft. I'll give you my ranking, my reasonings, and the information that I know as of right now. I am not a perfect scout or anything like that. I am just giving you my opinions as of right now. So feel free to drop in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong, if there's anything you agree with. So before we get into the video, we're going to give you this quick little intro, and that's just your time to give us like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps us out. We're a smaller channel, and we're really trying to grow for this off season to give you a lot more content and everything. So if you hit us with that, we'll give you more content. All right, let's get into the video.
From the police in my trap shoes. Posted trying to flip 100, I come back full. Come from nothing, but I blossom to a tycoon. Betrayal scars, case I think about them stab wounds. We might not catch him today, but he gon' die soon.
All right, like I said, I'm going to be talking about the top four quarterbacks that I want the Colts to draft in this draft 2023. The reason why I say four is we're at the fourth overall spot right now. And if for some reason we stay put, and there's three quarterbacks gone by number four, these are the quarterbacks that I would be happy with if we have our pick there. So one of the things that I'm going to kind of use as a disclaimer is the name Third and Wrong right up there. You know, Third and Wrong is our channel. And boom, right there, that beautiful logo. We say that because we obviously know we're not going to be perfect, and I hope you don't expect that of us. Hopefully this just gives you more information, more context, and maybe some more nuance if we get lucky. But with this video, I'm going to be talking about the four quarterbacks that I would like. If any of these quarterbacks get drafted by the Colts, I'm not going to be really upset because there's a lot of good in a lot of these quarterbacks. However, there are certain quarterbacks that I think we should prioritize and potentially trade up for. And I'll kind of talk about those quarterbacks and the reasonings why, everything like that. So the first one, if you watch this channel and you've seen me talk about quarterbacks, you probably know who my number one is, and that's going to be CJ Stroud. I talked to my boy, Mr. Abjude, Mr. Absolutely about this, and I've kind of had my own videos where I kind of talk about CJ Stroud, but the biggest thing with CJ Stroud isn't necessarily that he has a great arm, good accuracy, has enough mobility in him to survive in the NFL. It's just that he has also grown and shown a control of an offense, especially with probably the biggest, if not one of the biggest schools in the nation, essentially. And I know the knock on Ohio State quarterbacks is that they're Ohio State quarterbacks and that they have a lot of easy passes to make, and that's certainly true. That's not a wrong thing to say. I'm not going to disagree with you there. The thing with CJ Stroud, though, that you got to kind of respect and almost kind of take him differently than the other Ohio State quarterbacks of the past is, obviously Justin Fields is different. He has a whole different style of game plan that he brought to Ohio State just because of his athletic ability. Before that, you had Dwayne Haskins, RIP, and you had a few others. I can't really name off the top of my head. I think JT Barrett's one of them. But they were basically your, survive on the dink and dunk and the short game, passing game, that kind of deal. And that's definitely part of what CJ Stroud was asked to do in Ohio State. The thing with CJ Stroud, like I keep mentioning, is that he grew. And I think that sets him apart in this draft class right now, is that he grew from his first game to the last game against one of the best, if not the best, defense in the nation. And he played that game. I'm referring to the game that they lost to Georgia with a lot of confidence, a lot of, and when I say confidence, it feels like the game slowed down for him. And when you see that in someone, it shows that he has developed to a point where he's ready to move on to the next level. You can do that, and you can get that in the NFL. Because you got it in the college game doesn't mean that you're going to get it in the NFL, but it's definitely a great trait to display. If you watch, I think the biggest games that I've watched for CJ Stroud was the Michigan game in 2021 and 2022 were definitely different. And then the game that he had against Georgia, he was making throws on the run. He was also dictating his wide receivers to move into better position on the field. And when he threw the ball, most of the time, he's not perfect, but most of the time he was throwing it where the ball needed to be rather than just getting it to an area, if that makes sense. Because it's definitely easier when your wide receivers are open and you get the ball in an area. I mean, that's what Mahomes survived on in the NFL early on. He definitely has grown past that. But CJ Stroud was getting the ball to his wide receivers where it needed to be. And he also had a lot of drops in that game where if their wide receivers caught them, his numbers would look even better. So I really hold CJ Stroud above everyone else right now in this class, mainly because of that trait of showing his growth. You can talk about, like, obviously he had great talent around him. He had a good O-line. You know, he had a good defense if you want to look at that as well. But the thing with CJ Stroud is that growth. So I'll move on. I'll stop beating the dead horse on that one. The next one, Bryce Young's not my number 2. Let's see here. I think Will Levis is my number 2. And when I refer to Will Levis as my number 2, I mean this is who I would be the second most excited to have on the Colts at this point. The reason why is a mix of potential and what he has already shown. With Will Levis, the bad definitely comes in. He's not extremely accurate to the point where, like I was just talking about with CJ Stroud, where he was putting the ball where the ball needed to be rather than getting the ball in the area. But Will Levis definitely has a quick arm, but his arm is also powerful too. Like, he can push the ball down the field extremely well. And that's a trait in and of itself makes you a special talent. His run ability is definitely a plus, but with Will Levis, I'm looking at him as someone that can hit really any throw in the NFL. He definitely needs to work on accuracy, and I'm not good enough right now to tell you what those things are that he needs to fix. I think it is definitely possible, and he's not too far gone where it's going to make you're just going to be frustrated with him trying to get the ball places. So Will Levis is someone that I really like because of those reasons. But Will Levis had a great 2021 season with Kentucky in the SEC with a school that is a basketball school. And that's a huge knock in the SEC because Kentucky doesn't put a lot of money into recruiting, doesn't put a lot of money into their coaches, doesn't put a lot of money into their NIL for those transfers and everything like that. And so to be able to succeed where he did with Wan'Dale Robinson, with the NFL talent that left Kentucky last year, it was something like, okay, this is a good product. We like what we see here, and we like the traits. The issue, before I move on to the negatives and to the 2022 season, the one thing I really like about Will Levis is his leadership and his emotion on the field was definitely felt, and you could see that the game meant a lot to him. And then in 2022, that's where I feel like a lot of things shifted with him. He lost, I wouldn't say his confidence, but like, I think he was thinking too much, and that might be just the change of the system. It might be having the system have too many reads, whatever. I'm not able to learn that. I can't tell you for sure, and that's where I'm falling short, right? But with Will Levis, what you get is someone that can definitely work in the play action game very well. He can hit those deep shots. He can also fit into the Shane Steichen, Jalen Hurts, QB runs, pushing the offensive line, all that kind of stuff. So he would have a lot of framework to work with Jalen Hurts, tape and everything like that. Plus he has great size, great strength and everything like that. The thing is he definitely had a lesser year this last year. And that's something that could definitely be his weapons and his overall team being worse. His offensive coordinator was changed out. and there's just a lot of change in one season for a quarterback. And where if he was to just pull off 2022 as he did the year before, I would have him higher than CJ Stroud. But I think that is something to be wary about. I don't think that's just a, oh, don't think on that or forget about it. It is something to keep in mind, but I think Will Levis shows a lot of traits, a lot of good, and his negatives aren't necessarily like showing a quarterback that's unworthy of being drafted. So that's my number two with Will Levis, and these are the two quarterbacks that I would definitely trade up for without really like worrying about it. The next one I would say is my number three is Anthony Richardson, and I'm going to kind of contradict myself a little bit here, and I understand that. The thing with Anthony Richardson is he has all those traits like we were talking about with Will Levis. He even has more traits. He's bigger, stronger, faster. He almost throws the ball further. I'm not 100% on that one. The thing is he has very limited amount of games where he has started, and in those games that he started, it's really hard to be confident that you can put your faith of your franchise in him for the next, what you're expecting, hopefully 10 to 15 years, if not more. The things that I like about Anthony Richardson's game is his ability to create. I like his deep ball, and there's definitely some things that he does to save plays that are dead or just create plays and make the most out of them. He definitely has that ability. But when you watch his game, it's really tough because you'll have those highlight moments, and then you'll have moments where he's trying to hit a deep out and the ball just sits 6 yards in front of the wide receiver, or he sails the ball. And it happens more than all the other candidates here, all these other prospects. And it happens at a higher degree. I don't know the statistics, and statistics can be manipulated, so I'm not sure 100% on that one. But when you're watching the tape, it's just really tough to look and say, oh man, Anthony Richardson, I'm 100% in on this guy. If you can get development out of him, 100% take him. And that's where, if you feel that way and you're confident in that, you trade up and you do what it takes. But there's also that hesitation where, what if he is just a bundle of potential and nothing else? You know, if you draft him and he doesn't work out, that sets your franchise back so far, and that's just a hard risk to make. So you have to be super confident in that decision. And that takes me to Bryce Young. I don't know. I don't know about Bryce Young, man. I watch a lot of his big games. I can definitely go into where he beats up on the smaller schools, but that's kind of hard for me to do. But with Bryce Young, two games really stick out to me. Tennessee and LSU are both games that they lost this year. And it's not fair to only judge him based on his losses. That's, I can definitely recognize he had a Heisman year. I think he deserved that Heisman, unless there's someone I'm forgetting that got gypped out of it. But Bryce Young is definitely someone that can work in the NFL, can put up stats in the NFL, and be a fine quarterback in the NFL, if not a good quarterback, great quarterback, or whatever. He definitely has that in him. The thing I get concerned about, and if you watch the LSU tape this year, I highly suggest doing it. The reason why is just imagine him wearing a different uniform while he's playing the way that he plays. If you can do that, it's hard. But like, if you can imagine Bryce Young playing this way at any other school, just forget that he's at Alabama. Trust me, like if you forget that he's at Alabama, you're going to wonder why this guy is supposedly a top 2 or 3 quarterback in this draft. And the reason why I say that is he misses so much in this game. On his throws, on reads, he misses a lot on how he escapes the pocket. And he saves himself, I think, in the last 5 minutes or maybe the last 8 minutes of the game. He puts on some great film. Like he puts some great balls on tape. He puts, he shows you why he is a prospect of, this caliber, right? He shows you that he can kind of be clutch in the fourth quarter. He can put the ball where he needs to. He extend the pocket. He can play out of rhythm, all that kind of stuff. He definitely shows that. It's just, I mean, to me, I was texting someone. I kind of feel like Bryce Young almost like is already there in his mind. He's already as good as he can be in college, and that's where I think C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young are different. Is C.J. Stroud has been grinding, working, and improving a lot of the different things because he had a lot to improve on. Bryce Young didn't have a whole lot to improve on from last year. He had to just kind of continue his play. But if you watch if you watch the LSU and Tennessee tape and just imagine him in a different uniform, you're going to kind of wonder, like I did, why is this guy here? Let me see if I can move my overlay. Hopefully that doesn't screw up the recording. But with Bryce Young, I moved that so you can see his name. But with Bryce Young, he can definitely hit a lot of throws in the NFL. He definitely plays more to the sideline than he does across the middle. And he does a really good job of getting the ball to the running backs, working within the system for sure. But he does a lot of things to extend the plays when I don't feel like he necessarily needs to. And the way that he plays, he plays as if every play can be turned into a touchdown or a first down. And that's what got Andrew Luck out of the NFL. That's what got Carson Wentz out of the NFL, in my opinion. And that's what a lot of people are worried about with Joe Burrow taking so many hits, taking so many injuries, is these quarterbacks that have the quarterback size, right? The 6'4", 6'5" quarterback size, taking all these hits and just crumbling in the NFL. Package that into a 5'10" quarterback and forget all the the high end traits that he has and stuff like that. Just mix in the fact that he misses a lot on his throws. He definitely has worse talent than he did the year before, but he misses a lot on his throws. He misses reads, especially in those LSU and Tennessee games. And he does come alive at the end of the game, but why do you need to come alive at the end of the game? Like, you should be able to be popping off right from the beginning, get in rhythm early, and keep that the rest of the game, especially when you're at Alabama. I mean, yes, he had lesser talent than he had the year before, but you're in, if not the prime college in the NFL, one of the top colleges in the NFL. And to me, that's not an excuse of why you're missing, why you're not hitting on all the right throws. So to me, Bryce Young, I know this sounds really negative on Bryce Young and that I'm bashing him. I'm not. I'm saying I would be happy with him at 4. I'm not trading up for Bryce Young. And I feel like Shane Steichen can get a lot out of Bryce Young and keep him on his feet and not on the ground. It's just those fears, to me, make me less certain than these other quarterbacks here in the NFL. And I hope I'm proved wrong. I think Bryce Young is a good dude. I think he definitely has a lot of swagger to him and a lot of leadership and a lot of... I think he's just a really skilled player. I think if you put him in the right size body, I think he's a number 1 pick, no brainer. It's just though, yes, he's too small, but I'm not saying that is the only part of the argument. It's just the way he plays in his frame is just not going to work in the NFL unless I'm proven wrong. And I hope I am, right? The third and wrong disclaimer, I hope I'm wrong. But to me, that's how I view this class. I would definitely trade up for C.J. Stroud or Will Levis. I might trade up with Anthony Richardson if I'm certain. With Bryce Young, that's, to me, we stay at 4 and Bryce Young hasn't been taken yet and we get our guy there. So that's how I view it. Again, if you disagree with me or you have some things to point out to kind of steer my eyes into something where I can learn and change my mind, I'm definitely open to doing that. But as of right now, I just can't see Bryce Young being the guy that I'm sold on and I'm going to trade the farm for. And those are just my thoughts. If you've stayed to the end of this video, though, definitely throw a like, comment, or subscribe, or all 3 of them. Helps us out a bunch. Like I said, we're a small channel, and we're trying to grow for this off season and get you more content. And the more that you support us, the more content you get from us, and that's a win-win in my book. So hope you have a good night or a good day, and we'll talk to you later.